Thanks for joining us on our Wednesday TNT. Now, just a very quick warning. Today at midday, I'm having a couple of skin cancers cut out of my head, so I might look a bit like a patchwork quilt tomorrow. These are just the ravages of a youth spent in the sunshine, so always wear a hat outside. That's all I can say. So let's get started with today's program. We head first to the Philippines, and there's been a strong 6.5 magnitude quake rocking the northern Philippines. It says that, well, they've changed their mind already in the first line. A 6.4 magnitude earthquake rocked the northern Philippines late on Tuesday, according to the US Geological Service. The story coming from the Straits Times, the Singapore-based publication. And they say, we're expecting damage here. But here it is from a Twitter feed. You can see, well, the cat runs out. It knows what's going on. And then that's a really violent rumble. So a lot of damage caused there in just that one particular view. So they are expecting more damage as the day goes, as we hear more information out of this relatively remote area. But we see here from Google, it's not the only earthquake. There's been like 4 or 5 earthquakes in that same sort of general area. So we expect to hear more about that particular earthquake. The Philippines, not unknown to have quite severe earthquakes. And as the emergency services get into that area in the next 24 hours, we'll bring you the very latest. And very soon I'm going to take you to that building sort of teetering on the top of a landslide area along a very popular and busy road called the Bypass Road in Phuket. So we'll take you there and show you exactly what's happening. That's coming up on the program. But further to some good news, a cabinet backs expats owning land. This from the Bangkok Post. The program limited to wealthy foreigners. Always seems to be the way, doesn't it, lately? And it says that the Cabinet approved the proposals to allow foreigners to hold land ownership of up to 1 rai, that's roughly 0.16 of a hectare, for residential purposes. I don't know how many acres that is to my American viewers, I'm sorry, but have a look up 1 rai, R-A-I, that's a Thai measurement of land, and it's enough for a house and a little bit of a garden. So critics warn the move may trigger land speculation. It's draft regulation at the moment, but it has basically been approved by the Cabinet, so it looks like it's going to happen. The 4 groups that it's attracting are wealthy global citizens. Well, that's me out. Wealthy pensioners. Yep, I'm out on that case as well. People who want to work from Thailand. And highly skilled professionals or specialists to buy and own land for residences. There's more caveats coming up. Hang on. Now, the proposal marks a departure from long-standing laws limiting land and property purchases, except condominiums to Thais or people married to Thais. And the story says the land slated for foreign ownership should be located in Bangkok, Pattaya, and municipalities of all provinces nationwide and areas stipulated as residential zones. Well, in other words, basically anywhere in Thailand where the zoning is residential. And qualified foreign nationals must invest, 40 million baht in Thai property, securities or funds to participate in the scheme. They're required to invest in real estate or infrastructure funds, real estate investment trusts, securities, or enterprises promoted by the Board of Investment, the BOI. So I'm not sure if you've got 40 million baht lying around, but that looks like it's going to be your entry point if you do want to own land in Thailand. If participants withdraw their investment before the designated period, their land ownership rights must be revoked. I'm not sure if that is the actual law, but again, once it's all gone through the rubber stamping and going through the Royal Gazette, then we'll find out more of the details. Just further to that story, and the Employers Confederation of Thai Trade and Industry disagrees with the Cabinet's decision, citing the possible impact on future land purchases made by locals. and saying that Thailand may be headed for trouble involving land speculation, meaning locals may be unable to afford to purchase land because of higher prices. We're worried about Chinese investors. They already bought and own plots of land in Cambodia and Laos. So I think there's going to be two issues. One, if there is a lot of foreigners starting to buy land, it will start to push up prices. There's no doubt about that. And secondly, I think if there's a lot of foreign ownership of land, that will involve some pushback from the Thais, who have generally resisted a lot of foreign ownership of their land or intervention in the past. So we'll see what happens there. We should, by the way, thank our sponsors, 5 Star Marine, where you can get in a lovely little boat like this and head out to one of these superb islands. There's some 30 islands around Phuket, and you can get to them within an hour or so. And certainly in one of these boats from 5 Star Marine. There's a link in the description of today's video. So thank you very much to 5 Star Marine. Okay, so I'm here at the bypass road in Phuket, and what we're looking at the moment is 2 roads. The top road there that you can see, that top road is usually 2 northbound lanes, and this bottom 2 lanes here is usually southbound. But because of this particular building that's teetering on top of what's been a pretty major landslide, and you can see there's not much soil left under that building. Because of that, they've deemed the top road, the northbound lanes, as unsafe, and both lanes are now being put into the bottom section of the road, and it's a single lane only, which of course is causing extra congestion. Usually 2 lanes in both directions, and now just a single lane. But if we just zoom in a bit, there's not much left under those buildings. The foundations are just sitting on sand, and a lot of that has capsized down the hill onto the road over the past week since the big flooding 2 Saturdays ago. And it won't take much more rain to erode that soil even more. So they've deemed it irreparable, they've deemed it abandoned, and they've deemed it unsafe, and it's going to be demolished. We don't know when, we don't know who owns it, we don't know why it's been abandoned for so long. It's been abandoned ever since I can remember in Phuket, but that's just another one of the casualties in Phuket. That building is going to be demolished. Otherwise, except for the lack of foundations, probably a perfectly good building that never happened. This is the TNT program. I think that plot of land might be open for foreign ownership at some stage. So this story from the Bangkok Post, and before we start getting all the comments, we are not fear-mongering, we're just passing on news, and I think this is, given the virus we're talking about, is something worth reporting. So the Bangkok Post saying that airports put on alert for Ebola cases, a word or name of a virus we never thought we'd be hearing about here in Thailand. Ministry reacts to an outbreak in Africa. The Public Health Ministry is beefing up health checks on incoming travellers from Africa in a bid to prevent the spread of Ebola virus. The move comes despite the fact that the WHO is yet to classify the current outbreak in Africa as a public health emergency for international concern. Now, given the complete botched response to COVID-19, I would like to think that we're going to be a little bit more adult when it comes to this particular virus. Because when we're talking about mortality rates, this Ebola virus is in a whole different category. So if people sort of want to start stamping their feet and demanding their rights when it comes to prevention of Ebola virus, I would warmly suggest you take any of those warnings seriously. All travellers arriving from Africa, especially those whose journey began in Uganda, will have to fill in a declaration form at the International Communicable Disease Control Checkpoint when they arrive in Thailand airports. At the third paragraph, the Public Health Minister is confident that Thailand will be able to stop the virus from affecting the tourist sector. That's a real knee-jerk political reaction, isn't it? Saying that they're worried about the tourist sector, they should be worried about the well-being of their own population. So another, I think, irresponsible comment there from the Public Health Minister. So just checking with ABC News, this is a feed from Australia, their version of the story. WHO Ugandan Ebola outbreak rapidly evolving after 1 month. It is rapidly evolving. The Ministry of Health of Uganda has shown remarkable resilience and effectiveness and is constantly fine-tuning a response to what is a challenging situation. Well, Ebola has been a problem in Central Africa for decades, and I'm sure there'd be a lot of resources at the moment going to try and stop any spread from that particular area. 64 people infected and 24 killed. That's in this current outbreak. Let's go to the second paragraph, where it says that fears that Ebola could spread far from the outbreak's epicentre caused authorities to impose a lockdown, including nighttime curfews, on 2 of the 5 districts reporting Ebola cases. Up the top there's no proven vaccine for the Sudan strain of Ebola. Ugandan officials have documented more than 1,800 Ebola contacts. And the third paragraph there, Ebola is spread by contact with bodily fluids of an infected person or contaminated materials. Symptoms include fever, vomiting, diarrhea, muscle pain, and at times internal and external bleeding. So a different animal from, for example, COVID-19, which was largely a respiratory disease, and the method of contracting it are very different. Let's see what Google says, and I think this will just shake you into a little bit of reality. On average, 50% of people who contract Ebola will die. Case fatality rates have varied between 25 to 90% in past outbreaks, and in the current outbreak, which began in 2018 in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the overall fatality rate was around 67%. 2018 outbreak isn't the current Ugandan outbreak, so I'm sure you'll be hearing more about this in the future, given the seriousness of the Ebola virus. To the Thai PBS World, who are also reporting on it, Thailand now monitoring all arrivals from Africa to prevent spread of Ebola. And a spokesman from the Public Health Ministry saying he finds it necessary for Thailand to take the precaution to prevent the disease from entering the country. The third paragraph there, citing Ebola as a dangerous infectious disease, Dr. Taras said that all arrivals from Uganda are required to undergo health screening. And down the bottom there, the Ebola outbreak in Uganda has been identified as the Sudan strain, which has a mortality rate of 53% compared to 68% for the Zaire strain. So that's the current situation. There are no current cases of Ebola in Thailand. I'm very certain that the public health authorities, who have proven themselves to be very risk averse in the past, will be making sure it doesn't enter the country. So at least now you know. Let's have a talk about digital nomads now. And this story from The Nation saying that Thailand ranks high in the world of digital nomads. And exactly what is a digital nomad? I found this definition quite amusing. A new generation of workers are living their lives as digital nomads. The second paragraph, digital nomads, DNs, are people who live like nomads while working remotely using technology and the internet. Well, I think the definition of the word nomad has probably changed a lot over the years. But here's some statistics. Working whilst on travel visa technically is illegal. That's the situation in Thailand. 21 countries have created a digital nomad visa and have a program targeting DNs. 28 countries offer visa valid for 6 months or more that are digital nomad friendly. That's not the case here in Thailand. But we have some interesting statistics from this Nation story. So there are 35 million digital nomads around the globe. The digital nomad community's economic value is estimated at $787 billion US per year. 49 and nearly 50% are females, 50.19% are males, pretty much half and half. 76% are white, 10% Latino Hispanic, 8% Asian and 6% black, 31% are from the US, 8% from Portugal, 7% in Germany and 5% from Brazil. The average age is 40 years old. just over that. The oldest digital nomad in this survey was 72 years old. Well, I'm closer to that, sadly. Digital nomads have been travelling on average for 6.1 years. So it seems to be a thing, almost a decision about your career to do it remotely, because some of these people, as it says, have been travelling or doing it for 6.1 years on average. 85% have been on the road longer than a year. 83% of digital nomads are self-employed. 66% of self-employed digital nomads own their own business. The most common professions are marketing, computer sciences and IT, design, writing and e-commerce. So I'm not really sure what they're calling a digital nomad. Is the fact that I'm Australian working in Thailand and using technology, does that make me a digital nomad, or am I just an expat? So that's a thing that hasn't already been defined there. But I know Thailand just has not made it easy for digital nomads. There are visas that people can come here and stay for a long time. I know a lot of digital nomads tend to use the education visa as a way of staying here long term, and other people buy the elite visa and sort of do a bit of work on the side and don't tell anybody. But it has not been made easy. I think the best thing that Thailand could do as it reviews its visa program, and it's obviously doing so at the moment with quite a few changes, is come up with a defined digital nomad visa. Just call it for what it is, a DN visa. I think that would be very lucrative and sensible for Thailand as it's battling to get foreigners to come and stay here at the moment. Down the bottom there, 56% of digital nomads see the cost of living and fast, accessible internet as the major factor in choosing a location to stay. Well, Thailand. I think this is the ideal country to do it. It's really got a lot it can offer as far as speed of internet, the cost of internet, the availability of internet, and, of course, you've got the cost of living and a great lifestyle as well. So come on, Thai government, this is something where you could really get a lot of people coming here to spend extended amounts of time. They're self-employed. Well, I think that's the idea, and they're making their own money, and they're not just here sitting in bars all day. I think that could be very lucrative. You're watching the TNT program. If you do get a moment, please subscribe to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Yes, I'm back in my home in Phuket, and we're looking at a few tweaks, just twiddling the knobs a bit on the program over the next few weeks to try and improve it, make it a better program for you. I am absolutely both surprised and delighted by the response to the program, and I'll be doing my best to try and make sure it's as relevant and as timely as I can possibly make it. This story from the coconuts.co website: military jets bomb concert in northern Myanmar, killing at least 50. I put another version of this story up after I recorded the program yesterday. This incident happened, and I put a link to a phuket-go.com story in yesterday's description. But let's have a look at the details. Military jets bombed a concert in northern Myanmar commemorating the founding of an ethnic political group. This article says it's on Monday. My understanding is that it happened on Sunday night. But it killed at least 50 civilians, wounded 100 more, according to residents. It's believed to be the deadliest single airstrike since the Burmese military seized power in a February 2021 coup. The attack came just days ahead of a special meeting of foreign ministers from ASEAN. So yes, that foreign ministers meeting will be held in Jakarta tomorrow, and will be interesting to see what they come up with. ASEAN pretty much been a toothless tiger in relation to the Myanmar conflict that's been going, nearly 2 years since the latest coup. So it would be important, I think, now for ASEAN to roll its sleeves up and take some firm action to make sure that we don't get more airstrikes like this. I mean, fancy going to a concert on a lazy Sunday evening up in northern Myanmar and then being bombed. Just astonishing, the violence that's taking place against its own citizens in Myanmar. Police hunt down a Trang SWAT official after allegedly killing and injuring bar customers in Trang nightclub on Tuesday. Trang, right down in the south of Thailand, a coastal community where you can jump off to some very pretty islands. That's got nothing to do with this story. A policeman from Trang's SWAT was wanted by officials after shooting and killing a bar customer while injuring another 2 customers during a drunk quarrel with the victim at an entertainment venue in the city district of Trang. This happened in the early hours of Tuesday. Further in that story, the investigation revealed that the police sergeant, who was also known as Sergeant Bird, came to the venue with his colleague. According to a waiter, both of them already looked drunk and were presumably drinking from somewhere else before entering the venue. Sergeant Bird had managed to run off after the incident. About 50 police officials were deployed to hunt down the alleged shooter for legal proceedings. So another story about an armed rogue policeman. So I hope the police are successful in capturing this Sergeant Bird ASAP and getting to the bottom of that matter. And with that, I thank you very much for watching today on our Wednesday TNT. We do this 5 days a week. It comes out around about 9 a.m. Thai time, sometimes a little bit later when I'm slow. And we also have our live program on Saturday. Didn't do one last week, but intend getting back to our live program this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Thai time. Thank you for watching today, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.